Let's face it, we all miss parkrun. The community, the marshals, the running.
Hello, Harry here, and a very good morning to you, and I really do mean morning. It's very early, it's quite foggy, and we've got up early because we're headed down to the Exmouth parkrun course to run it whilst there is no parkrun. Just as in the recent video where I paced Steve for his 5k test to try to break 22 minutes, he's going to be pacing me on this one. The only difference is he'll be on a bike.
As I approached the seafront in the JOG ON van, I was hit by an amazing sight.
Pulling out onto the seafront, and what a beautiful sunrise. I've got to show you this. This is incredible. Well, it would have been harder to have picked a nicer morning to do it.
Parking up, I witnessed something quite odd. A tractor carrying a sign.
What we'll do, guys, is we'll put a sign on the tractor warning about the tractor. So in case anyone's looking and wondering what the danger is, they'll read the sign rather than just looking at the tractor.
So in a few minutes, Steve should get down here. He's coming down on his
bike. I was interrupted by the arrival of Steve himself.
It's not the worst conditions, is it? No. And it doesn't seem too windy, which I think was my main concern.
If only I knew what was to come.
Okay. We've already had 2 runners come past and say morning to Steve. Do you know everyone around here?
Well, I know a few Harrys.
And you know this, Harry?
Poor humour aside, a warm-up run was in order.
So initial plan is just to get about a half-mile warm-up in, get the legs turning over. So this is the finishing straight, and it's a lot emptier than I remember it.
Before we begin, here is a super quick recap on my history with Exmouth Parkrun. The first 2 times running at Exmouth in 2018 were 1914 and 1917. That was back when I could still run quite well. Then I broke my foot. Ironically, it was at this low point that I started making the JOG ON videos, and thus documented the next 2 attempts in 2019, 2108 and 2117. In case you're wondering, the 2344 was pacing Steve for a sub-24 attempt. But a whole year later in 2020, with my foot recovered and many more miles of training in the legs, I wanted to see where I was at now. A quick side note here, something I learned from the past 2 years is that real running fitness takes a lot of patience and time. Onwards.
I always find that no matter how early you come out, there's always people already out walking their dogs. People love an early start, don't they?
As we track parallel to the beach, I asked Steve about the infamous turnaround point.
That Orkham Point, what's the kilometre reading? About 2k or something?
Exactly, yeah.
To spin around at about 2 kilometres, run around the classic curvature of cones. And the initial observation, having just turned around, is that immediately we're hit with this sort of bitingly cold headwind. And it doesn't seem too windy. We were literally just talking about how calm it is.
Back at the van, Steve once again played the role of local celebrity.
We just wait here and you can sign autographs. There's runners everywhere. Well, fair play to be out this early. You know you're near the sea when already you're getting sand in your shoes as you're changing.
The jumper came off and the jog on top came out.
Okay, here we go. Just hoping with that sun starting to rise that the temperature's going to come up a bit, because right now it's pretty cold.
Just as 1 year ago, I stretched in the morning sun.
Amazing morning, isn't it?
Then adjusted the laces once more.
Happy birthday to you!
Well, there's nobody here.
As I waited on the empty start line, the watch was left to connect. Steve and I attempted a quite different photo 1 year apart, before briefly discussing the plan.
So the goal is to try and run somewhere close to 4 flats,
Yeah.
just see how that feels. My main concern is on the way back, so the big reveal, if you like, is going to be at Orkham Point, turning back,
Sure.
seeing how that headwind feels.
It was time.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
4 million different people have run.
All right. How you doing? And immediately met with the beautiful scenery.
As we raced towards the morning sun, feeling good, I tried to let my legs turn without pushing too hard. So I was surprised to hear Steve call out the first kilometre as
354, Harry.
The first kilometre was
354.
a little bit sharp.
just a few years ago, 3:54 would have been a quick training run pace.
Glorious.
But now it felt fast.
That morning sun is absolutely glaring. I'm running with one eye open. I'm going to have to imagine where those cones are.
Orkham Point was in sight.
Just give me the line, please. Oh, it's sandy. Well, the sunlight's better, but immediately that biting headwind hits. I had a 4:04 for that second K.
Significantly slower than the first kilometre. But it evened out the attempt to get closer to the target of averaging 4-minute kilometres.
Okay. Cheers, Marshall. Hey, Marshall. Hello, non-existent Marshall. Hey. Thank you, Marshall.
The third kilometre arrived.
407. Okay, Harry.
It's hard to cling to that fall flat with this headwind as well, and no one around to chase. Just you.
The legs were complaining.
Last stretch, easy behind.
I think last time I ran along here, there was some kind of temporary wall just here.
But things were getting worse.
There we go.
Desperately trying to cling to Steve's back wheel, we swept through the 4th kilometre and past the Jog On van. A blur of Marshalls and Steve signified the hairpin bend turn at the other end before a charge down the seawall. As we realised my pace was increasing, it became apparent that I would be very close to 20 minutes, the breaking of which had not happened for well over a year, but to do it, I would need to run fast.
So close.
Out and outbound.
20:04 I had.
2004.
Oh.
As Steve pointed out,
Out and outbound.
I had run the infamous 20:04 personal best of Alan Outbound, who we have been filming with at the track for him to finally achieve his dream of sub 20 minutes.
20:04. No.
Come on, 5 seconds.
Go check that video series out if you haven't already.
Yes, race conditions apart from no one else here. We're just so close with the headwind down.
You ran very fast last kilometre, but you just picked it up. Fastest mile 6:15 there.
With 5 kilometres run and an average of 4:01 per kilometre, I had missed breaking 20 minutes by a fraction.
Oh, thanks very much.
Oh, what? Well done. Good effort.
Have a good ride back, stay safe. I'm still going to walk it round like I've just collected my barcode and walk into the rather non-existent finishing funnel. Oh yeah, not a bad run, not bad. Just outside 20, yeah. All right, thanks very much. Don't take him home, except there's no sign.
I then met 3 runners who asked me a bit more about Jog On and what the hell I was doing.
What do you do? Do you put it on YouTube?
Yeah, it's quite amazing how many people want to see parkrun content. It's quite cool.
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll have a look later.
Yeah, do.
You too.
Nice to meet you, bye-bye. JOG ON crew, if you want to know how this channel actually gets subscribers, it's literally just me begging people on the street. 20:04. Bloody hell. All right. Keep going. I do think this is a great time to be alive when it comes to running. As the years go by, I just feel like there's this kind of understanding between runners and people can acknowledge what you're doing and what you're going through. I think people just appreciate the effort.
The final plan was to
Just go do a short warm down on the beach and then head back in the JOG ON van.
No sooner had my shoes hit the soft sand than I was back at the van.
Driving away now, that was Exmouth parkrun. Of course, it wasn't the best example of if parkrun is any faster without anyone else there. Clearly, I'm quite a bit fitter now after all the training recently. 20:04, so close to that 20-minute mark. And it does seem like I'm starting to get back to the shape I was once in. But yes, without a doubt, huge difference. No marshals, no one to talk to at the start. It's a difficult skill to push oneself when not in a race setting. Thank you very much for watching. Why not have a go at your local parkrun route whilst parkrun isn't taking place and see what it does to your own time. If you want to purchase one of the JOG ON tops I was wearing in this video, you can email a size request to thisisjogon@gmail.com. It goes a long way to supporting these videos. I'm Harry, go for that run, and this is JOG ON.